Okay. Good morning, everybody. April 2nd workshop, approval of March 19th workshop minutes. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
Mr. LaBarber?
Aye.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Abstain. Next item is approval of modified January 17 and February 7 trustee meeting minutes.
Motion to approve both January 17 and February 7.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber?
Aye.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. Planning and zoning update. Do we have anything on that, Greg?
Yeah, hang on a second. Yeah, you got, and I'll talk about this in upcoming public hearings, which are next. So, I've had Kevin and Jessica filling in for Harry, teaching them how to review plans, inspect plans. It's going pretty smooth. Harry's starting to answer some emails, so he's working on the land use committee. We've got a couple applications in. It was in the most recent newsletter, so we've got more of those starting to trickle in. I'm gonna put another advertisement out for zoning commission. We have one interested individual, so for the alternate position, so we'll get that put back out again. Permits are up. We are already probably 25% over last year at this time, so construction industry continues to do well. I think if you've seen from your public hearings, things are moving along pretty well from that standpoint. So I'll move on to upcoming public hearings. You have 2 hearings on Thursday night. They're relatively simple hearings. You have case 2019-03 MA. Hickson Incorporated is the applicant, and it's actually for UDF. This is on 7745 East Kemper Road. This is the former Belcan building, the one next to ProWare, Pro Source, I think it is, ProWare, across from the Recon facility. Belcan has since vacated the building, and UDF is looking to go in there. This is a double letter plan district, and the change was significant enough that we felt it required a modification of PUD because it is a planned district. They're not proposing any significant change to the outside. They're going to build a dumpster surround, change out some of the landscaping, but the inside of the building is going to be occupied by the food preparation facility. Area in question, you can see the Recon facility to the north. The water tower's dead center. You have Station 93 and Schuler Park here. And then we're talking this building right here in the middle on Kemper Road. It is the entire building. It's about 227,000 square feet. Again, this is going to be for manufacturing, processing, and packaging of UDF, some of their baked goods or some of their food storage. They have plenty of parking. That's not an issue. They are going to have some office function in the building. They're going to modify this parking lot to the left here, so it'll be this parking lot right here. They're going to park semis and delivery trucks in that particular area here. And then they're going to have loading docks in the back, which there's already loading docks back there. They're just going to slightly modify those loading docks. They're also going to create dumpster surrounds. As you'll see in the photographs, those dumpsters are currently just standalone dumpsters. They are going to build proper surrounds around that. And they are going to modify the landscaping. This is the view from Kemper Road. Obviously swap out the sign from comp management, change out some of the landscaping. I think they're going to update the paint on the building. Nothing extraordinary. There's the parking lot I was mentioning here. Those trucks will be stored in the rear of that parking lot. And then here's the back of the building. You can see here those particular loading docks. They're going to modify those slightly for their needs, but it's not like it's a building addition, maybe an awning addition, etc. And then this is the back area where they're going to create those dumpster surrounds. This backs into other industrial properties. Just another look at the loading docks. Again, not really a structural modification, but they're going to have some awnings, some canopies, just to work with the flow of what they're doing in this particular building. In front of the building, again, they're going to improve the landscaping here. And then finally, we had some photometrics, and they've adjusted this so it is compliant with our zoning resolution. Updated landscaping plan. Again, it's all compliant with the zoning resolution. It's not too big of a deal there. And then here's their dumpster surrounds that they're actually going to build. And again, here's those freestanding dumpsters now. They're going to put these inside of a surround. They're going to lose the 4 parking spaces, but they are overparked to begin with, so it's, again, that's not an issue. We had 4 issues for zoning compliance. There's some mechanical equipment in the back that they need to screen, which they agreed to do. We had the lighting issue, which they've already adjusted. The dumpster enclosure, they need brick or stone, and they were proposing the wood slab, so they're gonna switch that to masonry. Now, 12.4.1, it says 24 feet required for two-way traffic. They have 23 feet on an existing lot. So they're not adjusting the striping of the lot, so, zoning commission recommended the variance. And the boundary streetscape buffer, they are not changing, what is there, but they're required to have it. So those are the four zoning compliance issues. They can mostly be mitigated, so it's not that big of a deal. And zoning commission did recommend approval of this. So this starts at 6:30 on Thursday. Your second case for the night is case 2019-04 MA. This is for camp safety on Blue Ash Road. If you remember, you've got the camp safety building, most of it's actually in Deer Park. You've got the south side of camp safety where the garage is at, and you have that extra house. That's part of the site. So again, we have this building right here, which is the main camp safety building, and this is also camp safety as well. It is actually still used as a residence, but it's also used for storage. At one time, the BZA approved the use, probably back in 2003, then in 2005, they actually changed the zoning to retail to be more commensurate with how they were using it. However, the house has remained as a single-family home, so we're the tenant in that house, but it's the building itself, it's this storage structure here, which is the issue for this particular case. Again, just a close-up of the site. What their proposal is to do is to expand the existing garage. This is your current garage that you see right here. This is the existing house. The dark gray areas are the proposed expansion areas for the garage. As you can see, they're going to continue the roof line, put on storage here, and then bump the building out to the front. So the existing building right now is approximately this location right here. They're going to push it out towards Blue Ash Road and push it out the side towards the existing single-family home. And then again, here's the building as it is today, and then here's their proposals added on top of that. So the hatched area is the existing building, the solid area is the proposed expansion. Just an interior look at how the building's gonna work, it's mostly storage. So from a parking standpoint, you're looking at one space required for the warehouse, and then you're looking at two spaces required for the single-family residence, which they do have. You can see that right here. You will have one parking space here, and it's hard to see in this drawing, but another parking space here for the residents, and then a third parking space here to meet their parking requirements. Photograph of the existing. So the first expansion is going to be out to the side here. The second expansion is going to push this forward approximately 20 feet, leaving the first parking space intact as it is. The buffering on the site is to remain as it is. There's no changes to it. It was what was approved when the zoning was changed. Again, we have the issues of parking and landscaping and streetscape. Again, we've already granted variances for the parking with original zone change. None of that is changing. They're not encroaching the parking any further to the right of way, and they are not changing any of the landscaping, nor are they required to place more in there. They are gonna put buffering to the north side, so they're gonna plant new landscaping along here as well, so.
How many square feet is that storage unit currently?
It's about 1,600. It's going to about, I believe, 3,300. Well, let me double check. It's going to 1,900 total.
Okay.
From about 1,400 right now.
Okay.
Did you say they own the house, the single family?
Yes, Camp does.
Camp does.
It's rented out, yeah.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where Camp maintained ownership of the property, Camp Safety and the house. The business is operated by someone else. But this is exclusive to Tom Camp, and his dealing still with Camp Safety. He's got some of the business as well, so that's what it'd be used for. Zoning Commission did recommend approval of this as well. Again, 6:30 for both of these on Thursday.
Okay, questions? Maintenance update? Tracy.
First, I received an email from somebody that lives over on the Williams area concerned about parking on the street. As you turn off Plainfield Road, there's, the first block is mainly no parking on one side, fire lane, and as you continue, it does that fire lane goes away, there is parking on both sides, all the way till you get down to the end where it is, no longer a curved area. Once it goes to the uncurved area, there are parking stands on the side, in people's front yards that they park on. And this does get quite tight. I don't know if Chief has any input on this. I know our guys have trouble sometimes with snow plows back in there, so I can only imagine it would be really tight with a fire truck or a squad back there.
Yeah.
I drove it yesterday, and I thought it was interesting. I thought it is really tight in some areas, but not necessarily in the areas that he was describing. I think there were some other areas that were tighter than the ones that he was concerned about.
But from this, so some of those parked cars move too, though. I mean, there's parked cars, but if they're parked right across from each other, it gets tight. So from where the no parking zone ends, all the way to the non-curved area, I would suggest we continue that no parking fire lane. Chief, do you have any input on that?
I think it's a good idea, because it is tough to, especially if they do get on both sides of the road.
Yeah.
So I got the same email, so I agree.
Yeah. So I'll send the information over. Do you want me to send it to you or send it to Doug?
He said it both of us,
Okay.
one of us will get it.
Okay. Very good. All right. Also, an update on Shelter 2, if you've been over to Bechtold, they are doing the stonework on the columns on Shelter 2, so it should, they're saying they're going to be done by the end of this week. I wouldn't hold my breath on that, but it's getting close. So it looks good. We're having a pre-con on April 15th for the pavilion reconstruction with Schweitzer Construction. They've already been submitting paperwork to us. They're ready to go. So hopefully, I know they're anxious to get started. So that pre-con's April 15th. With that, a Sycamore Road update. If you've been down there, you can see that the utility companies are really busy. Duke's been out there, Cincinnati Bell's out there, Daniels is out there right now doing underground for Cincinnati Bell. We still have underground for Duke to do for gas lines. And Duke aerial is basically done, but after them, Bell has to do aerial work and all the fiber companies have to do aerial work. So we're probably 6 weeks to 2 months away from the utility work being done before the actual underground for our contractor can start, which is water line and storm sewer. So, but everybody's out there and communication has been good. We're gonna have another meeting with the utility companies, make sure everybody's on board. I know, I think some of you, or all of you may have gotten an email about the flooding on Marie View coming off of the Cooper site. So as we speak, Steve is over there meeting with the developer and Hamilton County about what can be done. They do have straw bales up and some erosion fencing, but that whole site, with the whole site being cleared, there's no trees, there's no grass anymore, it's just a total runoff. They haven't changed the way the ground flows. It's always come down here. I mean, we've had problems down there over all the years, but without anything detaining any of the water, it's just flying down through there and flooding them out down at the bottom. It was a muddy mess if anybody saw the videos on the last one, the way it was rolling through there. So hopefully we have some answers today with Hamilton County being involved as far as what we can make that developer do, because something's got to be done.
They've also got a water main leak there too.
That's been leaking forever.
For you, that's what they said, it's been 2 years.
We've called and called and called.
Well, they were at, Waterworks was in full force yesterday. They said they're coming back tomorrow to do some more work on it, but
That's nice.
they've identified, they know where the leak is.
It's been leaking forever.
Yeah.
How responsible are we for that, as a township?
I don't think we're responsible at all.
So we're not, okay.
So I just wanted to bring you up to date and let you know that they're meeting right now to deal with this problem. Okay, we have our trash bash coming up April 12th and 13th at McDaniel. Also April 26th and 27th at Bechtold, when we'll also be taking household hazardous waste down here, and we'll be having our paper recycling again. I know last year it was, we had been going downhill for a while, and last year we were slammed. It was unbelievable, so we'll see what happens this year. Hopefully
Trash
it's a good
bash,
turnout.
there's no tree limbs and stuff like that.
No. We're doing chipping this weekend, the first weekend of every month. First Saturday, we do chipping here at the administration building, so that's this weekend.
You said recycling, you mean the document shredding?
You mean shredding.
Document shredding,
Yeah.
sorry. Which is, we get huge response from that.
That's on the 26th and 27th.
Just the 27th.
Just the 27th.
Yes, the 27th.
Yeah, we get huge response from that. That's always really busy. And then Fields Earl Corridor, there's an open house Thursday, April 11th at Schuler from 5 to 7. So all engineering companies will be there. I'll be there. I don't know who else, if anybody's planning on attending, but we'll have other jurisdictions there also. So it'll be interesting to see all the proposals and how the residents take it. Other than that, the only other thing I have is our maintenance facility that we've been talking about back here. Notices went out. We have been fielding phone calls. That'll be in front of BZA on April 15th at 6:30. Also on that Fields Road corridor, we sent out notices to everybody through the whole McCauley Woods. Now on Fields Ernal, on Conray, Tenderfoot, Scoutmaster, we wanted everybody that was gonna be affected to know, because we weren't sure exactly what the county hit, so we hit everybody.
I did get
in
the county's
township.
list, it was just Fields Earl basically. is all.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
So we made sure all residents knew. That's all I
That's
have.
it? Okay, any questions? Chief, fire department update.
I passed out these forms. The one that has Exhibit A is our current fee schedule that we use for doing, for any of the charges that we charge as far as fire and EMS runs, fire reports, EMS reports, all of our fee schedules for plan reviewing and that sort of thing. The original document here, the one that has the Exhibit A on it, was done probably in the early 2000s. So we wanted to update it from an 18-year-old price list to the current. We looked at some of the stuff, some of the prices that the building department and other departments charge for fees, so we kind of stayed consistent with them. And one of the things that we did add is on page 4, on the new document, is fire inspection fee for non-compliant. And we wanted to add this. We've been having a lot of problems with going back to a inspection 4, 5, 6 times, and the people just not complying with violations. So we wanted to put a little meat on it with a charge, that we can charge them if they disregard the violation, that we could start billing them for returning back to the inspection.
Anybody else doing that, chief?
Yeah, Anderson Township, I believe, is doing it. Doug talked to a couple people. The building department does it too. So, and then the other thing that I did is I updated on page 5, the EMS runs that had old amounts on it, and then I added the charges that we do for classes, because we do the paramedic refresher. We have outside people come in, we charge them for it. So I wanted to get all that on this document, so it's all proposed and the resolution passed for the prices and everything. I did add on the bottom, the auto accident cleanup and structure fire material We don't normally charge for that, we don't have to, but if we get a situation where it's an arson case or something where it's going to court, we can charge to recur our costs back if we use plywood and things like that. And the auto accident thing would be more for if we had a trucking company or something that spilled something on the highway and we need to be out there cleaning it up, we can reoccur some of our costs back on that. So that's pretty much what that's for. So just wanting to, I sent this to Doug Miller to see if we can get a resolution for Thursday night. And, but I wanted to just go over it with you and make sure everything's okay with it. Get your approval on it.
Okay,
It's all right.
okay, any questions?
We were talking in the last workshop, I guess, about the fire plugs, painting the fire plugs. What do we have to do to move forward with hiring some people with that?
We're getting that, the only thing I was waiting for is some information on if whoever we hire legally can drive our vehicle. And or a vehicle. Other than that, we're putting out a thing in Facebook and that and we got some guys that are interested in doing that. So as soon as we get that direction, and the weather breaks, of course, then we'll get out there and get going.
Okay.
We're gonna hire one or two, we're gonna get two kids out there?
Yeah, and
Two
we
guys?
did a couple.
Okay, we're all agree.
Yep. Okay, any other questions?
I got a question on that. How many fire hydrants need to be painted this year?
I have no idea how many needed. We've been painting them over the last few years, but we don't get that many done in a time because our on-duty crew goes out and does it, and they get interrupted so many times with runs. But we're gonna have them maintenance, grease, clean the threads on all of them, you know, that we can, and then paint the ones that need it. Some of them have been replaced by the waterworks, so they're new. They don't need painted. So if they need it, they'll paint it. If they don't, they won't. So, but I have no idea how many that would be. I would imagine there would be 500-600 of them.
And how many do we have in the township? You gave me a figure one day.
There's 1,500 total, but some of them are private hydrants that we wouldn't work with. I would say you're probably looking at 1,100, somewhere around there, that we would go through. Now, we have a list of the hydrants that we've done in the past. We don't need to send them to the ones that we just did last year. You know, like the Tiki Drive and Miami Hills, we already